Hey guys, what's up? Not eating food today. Here talking about comic books. Black Panther in particular. Just got around to looking up now what the first appearance of the Black Panther is worth. The movie's been out through the weekend and knew it was coming for a long time. Black Panther was in Civil War. I never looked up the value. I know, most people, why would you look up the value, Greg? Well, I'll tell you. I own the book. But the thing about the book is I've kind of grown to resent this book through the years. In fact, I haven't laid eyes on it in over 20 years. The last time I saw this book, 2 to 3 years before Q was even born. That's how long it's been. But I know I have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find it. And if I find it, I'm going to bring it back here and tell you the story of why I was so bitter. And we'll see it's worth. But I want to stress, I'm sure because it's in the title and it makes a great title and a great story. This book that I'm looking for sold for $90,000. That's a record. That is the one copy that was probably as good as you're going to get. If you go right now and purchase a brand new any comic book, the book from 1966 that sold for $90,000 was probably in better shape. Somehow there's always one of these copies laying around. I will guarantee you that mine is not going to be that. Probably mine's going to be people that don't know comic books but think they know about grading don't understand how picky people are. Like, if you pick a book up wrong, you've just devalued it by a lot if you break the spine. Well, take that and then take a couple chips out of the cover, put, I don't know, 1966, put 51 years on the book. That's what I'm hoping to find. But it has been in a dark, cool place for over 20 years since the last time I laid eyes on it. Let's go see. If I don't come back, I didn't find it.
Here we are in my closet, looking at some long boxes. Long boxes are the longer white comic book boxes that hold about 300 books. The shorter one holds 150 to 200 books. Honestly, I don't know how many comic books are there, like 6,000, 7,000. There's some more. Oh, those are from Comic Cartel. We'll talk about that sometime. Those hold books. There's more books. I have more books in other closets. I have books everywhere. But, lucky for me, I alphabetize. And I keep my books in numeric order because back until the comic book industry had a meltdown and decided you needed a #1 issue every 6 months, they used to just keep them in order for hundreds of issues. So I'm praying now that I will be able to find the book rather easily. Just for the record, it's not up there. But out of everywhere it could be, I'm betting it's going to be right here in this box because that's where it should be.
Well, by the very fact there was a video, you knew I found these books. So I kind of killed the drama early, but what the heck. I did find it. I did find Fantastic Four number 52, the first appearance of the Black Panther. We'll take a close-up look at that in a minute, and I'll show you why it's not going to be worth $90,000. It's not probably going to be worth $9,000. Maybe one day, $900. It's got some damage. But in addition, I found Fantastic Four 53, the second appearance of the Black Panther. Fantastic Four 45, the first appearance of the Inhumans. And then one that for some reason kind of slipped my mind until I pulled it out. And I was like, I remember when, where, and how I got it. But it was not Fantastic Four 46, first full appearance of Black Bolt. Just as lame then as he is now.
After all this build-up, let's take a look at the book. Like I told you guys earlier, I will never ever see 90,000, 9,000, or probably even 900. The book's got some chunks out of it. The book has some damage. People are picky. I guess if I'm paying 90,000 for a book, I want it to be perfect too. So now let's get to the real value of the book. In 1966, when this book was made, yes, before my time, before I was born. At this time, the superhero genre was dominated by white people. There were no African American or people of color in comic books playing the role of superhero. Not even very many supporting characters. Spider-Man had Robbie Robertson is the one that comes to mind in the Marvel Universe, but he was like the one black dude in the entire universe. Must have been lonely. but not as lonely as he would have been in the DC universe, where it took another 5 years for Jon Stewart just to get a shot at wearing the Green Lantern's ring, and he only got a brief period with it before he was gone, and we had to wait 6 more years for Black Lightning to show up. But thankfully for all of us, I didn't discover the first issue of Black Lightning. Boy, whew, dodged a bullet there. Let's get back to the Black Panther. You know, now it's kind of been like a boomerang effect. A lot of people are kind of pulling back on giving Stan Lee credit that he deserves for a lot of the characters he created. And not only created, but the character that he presented the Black Panther to have as a person. The Black Panther had no trace of any stereotypes that were very prevalent at the time. People that didn't think they were racist would just accidentally put in things and think that they were just doing characterization. In this case, I don't know if Stan knew some people, did some studies, or if he was just actually that self-aware at a time when most Caucasian people just weren't. But the Black Panther is a character from 51 years ago that you can take from this very first issue and plug him into the movie today, and he still works. Now it's kind of easy just to take for granted how great the Black Panther is. But take a look back at some of the characters that came out years, in some cases even decades after the Black Panther. I can't even defend Brother Voodoo. Luke Cage, Power Man, ex-con, jive talk, out for himself, hero for hire. I can't defend him either, really, but I will say that I always enjoyed Luke Cage. That tiara always did it for me. And Marvel has worked really, really hard in the last decade or so to rehab him, to make him a cornerstone and a respectable part of the Marvel Universe. Then we have good old tone-deaf DC. Jive turkey indeed. Although I will say later on, they did do something with Jon Stewart. I always liked the character, and I'm happy that they ended up bringing him more to prominence. Now, let's get back to the Black Panther. What you're seeing right now is something that is almost unimaginable for the time. A single, let alone what nationality or race he is, but a single person is kicking the crap out of the Fantastic Four. And pretty easily, I might add, if you watch this, Dr. Doom couldn't get it done like this. They set the Black Panther up in this issue so perfectly that it is almost the perfect introduction to a character. Off the top of my head, I can't think of a character 50 plus years on that was introduced that no changes were needed. The Black Panther as he appears today is very close to the Black Panther as he appears in this book from 51 years ago. And among many things, this is one of the things that Stan Lee deserves the most credit for. A great characterization. And, you know, people don't think that at this time he was catching some heat for this. During this period of time, within this 4 years, he had created the Black Panther. And 3 short years later, when everybody, it seemed, in the 60s was doing drugs, he took a stand and did an anti-drug issue, 2 issues of Spider-Man, that could have gotten him fired and blackballed from the industry, but he believed in the message so strongly, he did it anyway. These are the kind of things that people kind of lose track with Stan Lee. He gave an entire race of people their own hero when no one else had. Not just that, but an actual hero that a parent would be proud for their kid to emulate. Of all the heroes that Stan Lee has created, I'm glad that this one got done in his lifetime and he got to be appreciated a little bit for some of his contributions that people don't always think about.
Now comes the part maybe 3 of you have been waiting for. Why was I angry at a fictional character and an inanimate object, a comic book? Very simply, because I'm a moron. When I was 13 years old, I did some cataloging for let's say a very rich gentleman. And this gentleman gave me 3 options for payment. Mind out of the gutter. First option, $100. That was the option my father thought I should take, and he pretty much roundly thought I was a moron to take 2 comic books instead of a $100 bill in the mid-'80s. Now, as for the comic books themselves, I had 2 choices. I could get the first appearance of Galactus and the Silver Surfer, as well as the second appearance, or I could get the first and second appearances of the Black Panther for my work. My young mind struggled with the conflict. I thought long and I thought hard. At that moment in time, the Galactus and Silver Surfer book was worth approximately double what the Black Panther was, but then it was only like, say the Black Panther was worth $75 and the Silver Surfer book was worth $150. But in my thought process, now you got to understand, back then, there were no Marvel movies, there were no TV shows, there were no special effects, there was no technology. I thought, on the off chance they ever make a movie, they're not going to make a movie of the Silver Surfer. That's crazy. He's silver. He's on a surfboard. He flies through space. The Black Panther is a dude in a suit with no superpowers, really. Easy. So I'm going to take these Black Panther books. I'm going to wait for the movie. And I'm going to be rich. Two things. Cut to 2007 when the Fantastic Four 2 movie came out 10, 11 years ago. Who's in it? Silver Surfer. You can go to YouTube. There's test footage of, you guessed it, Silver Surfer. Where's the Black Panther in all this? But by that point, I was already way angry with the Black Panther because from that day forward that I made that choice, and every day after, the Galactus and Silver Surfer books climbed in value, while the Black Panther was lazy and he would kind of go up and kind of just float along, happy to be alive, while Galactus and the Silver Surfer just continued to rise. And my father, still over here, thought I was a moron because I didn't take the $100. Different time, kids. Different time. I was so frustrated and angry about this decision in my life that I never told another soul. At some point, and now I'm basing this, knowing full well even then that this was based on books that were near mint. So I want to say the Galactus book was in a little better shape, which is where I should have went. But just say based on the fact that these books were never going to be near mint, it was all ridiculous. I was so angry. I was literally just angry because I was so wrong about something I thought I knew so much about. I was so angry about it, I put the books away in like 1997. I put them in a box, in my Fantastic Four box, and never looked at them again until today, 21 years later. I'm old. 21 years is a long time to hold a grudge against a fictional character and an inanimate object. In my defense, though, I was young and stupid, and then I became older and stupid. But, I always had the Black Panther, so I just took it for granted. To me, he was just a character, a well-constructed character. And I even read other appearances of the character after all of this happened, and I was angry, but I would always be like, oh, Black Panther. You couldn't do anything to raise the value. Because, again, I was a moron. Didn't really take in the significance of the character or the greatness of the character. It was all about me. Now, in all honesty, if I'm looking right in the mirror and I'm all alone, I can't tell you if I feel better about the character now, because finally, I think I'm right. I think in the long run, the decision I made when I was 13 years old and thought I knew everything is going to turn out to be right. But it's not through anything I did, it's just through happenstance. The funniest part of all, and you guys won't believe this, is if the book was perfect, and the other book was perfect, and everything was perfect, and I could take it tomorrow and sell it for $75,000 cash. Honestly, I don't know if I would, because I'm a comic book collector, not a comic book speculator. And anyone that's a comic book collector will know that once you have a book like this in your hands and you sell it, odds are very good you're never going to have it again because you needed the money enough to sell it the first time. Even though I would have spent 20 years being mad at a fictional character and an inanimate object, at the end of the day, I probably wouldn't have sold them for $75,000. That's what it's like to be a comic book collector, friends. It's a sickness. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can find us on all social media. Mr. Happy0121. Lastly, I have not seen the movie yet. It's Marvel. It's got a good cast. I know it's going to be good. Honestly, I think I will go see it now, and I think I'll enjoy it. I'm glad I dug this moldy old book out of the closet. I think I'm going to go read it. Have a good day, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.